Creative, it's time to make something. Hello and welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. I'm Allison, and I am a multi-passionate creative dedicated to exploring everything that creativity has to offer, and helping you to build a sustainable and enjoyable creative practice of your own. So if cozy, curious, creative, or a little bit of all of the above is a good descriptor for you, then you're gonna want to stick around because that's what we're all about here. This is the final episode of our content versus creativity series, and it's gonna be a good one. In the first episode, we joined our photography and poetry-loving friend Jenny as she discovered that the internet isn't really the enemy. Together, we dived into the impact that input has on us, and we determined that we're committed to building a healthy relationship with the internet that actually nourishes our creative practice. Episode 2 brought us to the destinations of observation and intention. Jenny learned all about how to analyze her own habits and declutter the things that aren't serving her creativity. And y'all know episode 3 was a big one. Jenny started to solve the creative equation by exploring the first 2 parts of it: inspiration and information, the cultivators of creativity. We all got real honest about the creators we follow and learned how to search for those cultivators in the right places. And in this, our final episode, we'll be joining Jenny in solving that creative equation, using the input, the inspiration and information, adding the final ingredient, and making something magical out of it all. And if you love how this illustration turns out and want it as a reminder of what we learned in today's video, there's a link down in the description to the print pre-order. And with that, let's dive in. So we know that inspiration and information are the first 2 elements of the creative equation. There are external influence. Information is the fundamentals, the techniques, the quote-unquote rules of how to make something. Inspiration is the thing that sparks our imagination and our interest. That piece of music that inspires a new color palette, or the Savannah animal photo that sparks a new short story. These elements teach us the techniques that make our work look or feel or taste good, and they give us that itch to explore and try new things and to dive deeper into our own work. But creativity isn't just about the external pieces. We're missing a very, very important element in the creative equation, and that element is you. Creativity is inspiration plus information plus implementation. So implementation is defined as the process of putting a decision or plan into effect, or in one word, execution. Implementation is bringing yourself to the table. It's how you thread together the inspiration and information and put your own spin on it to make something new. The creativity doesn't happen until you show up with your own weird and wonderful mind and put it all into practice. Only you can complete the creative equation for yourself. Jamila Knopf said something in her art book Luminescence that really struck me. She said, "We are all capable of creative thinking. It's just that artists in whatever field are the ones who perceive the initial sparks and fragments and process them into something." We are all capable of having ideas, of being inspired, of learning the fundamentals of a craft. And I honestly think most people truly have a desire to be creative in some way, be it writing or baking or painting or sewing or dancing. But so many people stop at the first 2 elements of the equation and don't show up to tie the threads together, to bring themselves into the mix and to follow those sparks and fragments. They sit on the story idea and they never write the novel. They let their paints and their brushes collect dust, their journals sit unopened, their fabrics stuffed away in a closet somewhere. They have all the tools at the ready, they have all the inspiration, all the information, and they simply don't implement it. It's this sea of creative thinkers never using their gifts, never showing up to the table. True creatives are the ones who show up and make something. And I'm guessing if you're still watching this, you're a true creative. Even if you've been dealing with burnout, even if you've been stuck for ideas, even if you've fallen down the slippery slope of overconsumption and haven't actually made anything in a while. Jenny's been there, goodness knows I've been there, and maybe you're there right now. But hear me and believe me when I say this. A creative drought doesn't mean your creativity is gone. No one's coming to revoke your creativity card just because you've been struggling for a season. If you've made something before, you can make something again. And that's what we're gonna do. By the end of this video, we're gonna learn how to tie all those threads together and complete the creative equation by diving into our next creative project. But before we get to that, here's Annie Jane with a word from our sponsor. Oh look, it's me. Like we've been discussing, inspiration is a very important element of the creative equation, but it doesn't just come from the internet. It comes from the books on our shelves, the stickers on our journals and laptops, the artwork on our walls. If you're a cozy and curious creative, chances are something in my shop is gonna be your vibe. Need a cozy little baking print in your kitchen? Meet Miss Totter and her cozy pies and pastries shop. Need a little party favor for the charcuterie evening you're hosting? That's oddly specific, but this sticker sheet is just for you. Or maybe you're a creative daredevil with the need for an adventurous thrill. Then you definitely need to pick up a mystery bag. If you're interested in grabbing a little goodie from my shop, you can head on over via the link in the description and use the code YouTube10 to save 10% on your order. And now, back to our chat. One of the #1 places creatives get stuck in the creative equation is in the research or gathering phase. If you're anything like me, you love to learn. If you find a new technique, you're learning all the nitty-gritty about it and watching dozens of other creators put it into practice. If you're researching a certain environment for a new illustration, you're going down the rabbit hole of each and every prop and how they work. If you're writing a new Victorian short story, you're sifting through a 100-page list of Victorian names and their meanings to find just the right name with just the right symbolism for your main character. I'm not demonizing research by any means. Inspiration and information are crucial, and we gather those things through consumption. We should be excited to learn and discover and explore. But there is a danger of finding yourself in a sort of overconsumption quicksand. This endless cycle of gathering, but never implementing. Here's where that self-honesty really comes into play again. We need to ask ourselves why we haven't put the inspiration and information into practice. When it's been weeks of sitting with an idea, gathering the cultivators, and dreaming about what you're gonna make, but you haven't actually taken a step of your own to make it, you need to ask yourself, what's holding you back? And from my own experience, it's usually one of two answers. The first is fear. The fear that we'll have wasted our time on a project we didn't actually enjoy. The fear that the end result won't live up to the expectation we have in mind. The fear that we'll be seen trying. Coming from someone whose career is displaying their creative trials and errors on the internet, it is frightening. Forget ghosts and ghouls, the scariest Halloween costume is simply you holding up a sign saying,
"Hey, I'm trying a thing."
When we take actual steps to make something, it becomes real. It becomes visible. It becomes an opportunity to fail. The truth is, it's so much easier to sit in the research phase, just over-consuming on inspiration and information, than it is to bring the project to life. When we're in this phase, we don't have to face the reality that it might not go the way we plan. I recently saw a comment on someone else's video that hit me like a brick to the face, and I had to write it down in my journal. The comment said, "I believe any craving to consume is actually a craving to create that is being blocked by fear. At our core, we want to make something. We have the craving to create, but fear can be so loud." If fear is the culprit, we need to ask ourselves what it is we're actually afraid of. But I think that comment could go a step further and address another theory for why we get stuck in this research phase. It's a very icky word, and it's one we don't like to think about. Laziness. It's an uncomfy truth, but the reality is, sometimes we're just lazy about our creativity. I am so guilty of this. A friend commented on one of the videos in this series, and she said something along the lines of getting stuck doom scrolling for hours and then having the audacity to complain about not having time to create. And it's so true. We will go down the rabbit hole, over-consuming on the cultivators, and then complain that we don't have the time or don't have the right tools, or now we don't have the energy for creating something. We will look for literally anything else to blame, but deep down, I think we know we're the problem. We've talked a lot in this series about personal accountability, and when our own laziness is what's holding us back, we need to recognize that the craving to consume is a craving to create blocked by our own laziness. It's very easy when we're researching to feel like we're being productive, and to a certain extent, we are. We're filling the gaps in what we know and sparking our imaginations with inspiration. But the creative research can feel enough like being creative without us actually putting in personal effort that we kind of just sit there. It's easier to keep consuming than to make something of that consumption. But here's the thing. Though it feels enough like it in the moment that we get that initial little happy hormone boost, our bodies and our minds, they know the difference. They know that the true creative fulfillment comes when we actually make something. The true craving is for the creative process. So to be fulfilled, we must pour out. We must implement. We have to be honest with ourselves. We need to figure out why we aren't implementing, to address the fear, to address the laziness, and at the risk of sounding a little aggressive, we need to suck it up and do it anyway. Your creativity depends on you to be brave in spite of the fear, to be disciplined in spite of the predisposition to laziness. Your creativity needs you to step up and take action even when it's uncomfortable. If you want the creative fulfillment, you have to take a seat at the table. And here's why. Our creativity is an investment. Our personal creative projects, they're our investment portfolios. To build our creative investment account, we need to be making personal projects. Now, investing isn't without risk. And in our case, that risk is discomfort, it's failure, it's frustration. It's having to do the hard things and actually make an effort. Every time we show up to create, we're taking a risk. But here's where creative investment accounts differ from regular old money-based investments. Creative investments always pay off. You will always receive a return. What you put in, you will gain back 100-fold every single time. It never drains away, you never lose it. Every investment you make grows your creativity. And that growth looks like a lot of different things. Sometimes that growth is you trying a new medium and realizing that you actually kind of hate it. Sometimes it's attempting a different songwriting style and realizing that your voice is not suited to it. Or maybe it's trying out environment painting and discovering that your perspective skills are in critical condition. These kinds of projects help us learn what we don't like making, the tools we don't like using, where our skills are falling short. So often we treat failure as an enemy, but it's simply a teaching tool. Failed projects aren't wasted time, they're learning opportunities. Vernon Sanders Law once said, "Experience is a hard teacher because she gives the test first, the lesson afterward." Sometimes we have to trudge through the crap show of a project to arrive at the big discovery, that big lesson learned. But don't let me discourage you, the experiences aren't all uncomfortable ones. Sometimes we have those projects that just flow, where we get so in the creative zone and lose all track of time and remember what a joy it is to simply make something. The projects that help us hone in on our creative direction, the themes, the mediums, the ideas that always excite us, that keep us showing up. All of the experiences, the super frustrating ones, the super peaceful ones, the ones that have a little bit of everything. Every creative experience matters. Each one is an investment into our creativity that will reward us for showing up. So often I get questions about color. How I learned color theory, how I build my color palettes, how I can have a color in mind and know how to mix it. And while I do have some practical information to share on the subject beyond,
hey, red and blue makes purple,
my biggest piece of advice is always the one that no one wants to hear. Practice. Experience. learning from the trial and error over and over and over and over again. The same is true with our creativity as a whole. If we want to grow our creative account, we have to build up our experience. And we do that by making projects. But what kind of project should you make? When I say project, I don't necessarily mean you're making your Mona Lisa. Like we said, every investment in your creativity matters. The big investments, the small investments, every single one has merit. If it's been a while since you've made something, start with something small. Small stepping stones can build big paths to beautiful destinations. So we know that the creative equation is inspiration plus information plus implementation. If you watched the last video and used the free journaling prompts, you already have a pretty good idea of what you want to be making and where you can find the right inspiration and information. Chances are, between your Instagram save folder and your 200 plus Pinterest boards, you're probably fully stocked on all the inspiration and information you need to knock out a personal project or two. Whatever current idea you can't get out of your head, build a project around it. So when I'm brainstorming a project, I like to get my thoughts and ideas out through quick sketches, a page of word vomit, or like a digital mood board. If you took a peek at my messy sketchbook, you're gonna find lots of haphazard thumbnail sketches and scribble notes on lots of potential illustration ideas. For this series of Jenny paintings, I guess we'll call them, I've been making these little mood boards on Canva. As you can see, I often use some of my own work for inspiration. Is that weird? Inspiring yourself? I don't know. Basically, I'm just throwing in my style inspirations, reference photos, color palettes, informational photos, the works. Whether I make a mood board or use my sketchbook or journal, my goal is to get all the ideas out where I can see them so I can start knitting those threads together into a real project. Next, we need to set an intention, or what I also like to call building your ballast. Ballast is defined as a heavy substance placed in such a way as to improve stability and control, as of the draft of a ship. Ballast is the grounding influence that keeps that ship steady and upright when the storms come. And my creative friend, more than likely, you're gonna meet at least a couple storms throughout your project. By getting clear on your intention, you build a ballast that will keep you going no matter how frustrated or confused you get with your project. So, what is the purpose of your project? Is it to build a new skill? Maybe you're trying to improve your gluten-free baking. Maybe you're trying to practice different compositions in your landscape photography. Is your purpose to try something new? Maybe you've recently picked up some new colored pencils and just want to spend some time exploring with them. Or maybe you're a novelist but want to try writing some poetry. Or maybe your purpose is simply to have fun. Don't ever think that simply enjoying your creativity isn't a worthwhile goal. Whatever intention you set, hold on to it. Maybe even write it down and keep it with you while you're working on your project. When the rough times come, the fear sets in, the frustration builds, remember that intention. Remember that ballast and persevere. You can brave the storm. You can see this project through to the end. We've all heard the phrase, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it's 100% true. We need to plan a time to actually work on our project. Put it on your calendar the same way you would a meeting or a doctor's appointment. We talked in the last video about how we're so much less likely to show up for ourselves the way we show up for other people. But I want us to change that. I want us to hold ourselves accountable. I want us to treat this time on our calendar like it's our most important event of the week. And make it an event. If you're going out to shoot some photos, plan to grab yourself a little coffee or a donut. If you're going to be sitting at home writing at your desk, plan to light that special candle or make yourself some tea. This isn't just another moment. This is you showing up for your creativity. Showing up to follow those sparks and fragments and to thread them together into something new. Block out that time on your calendar and make the moment an event to remember. The final step really is the hardest. You've brainstormed a project, set your intention, and made a date with your creativity. Don't stand it up. Your creativity depends on you. It's counting on you to show up and pour out, to faithfully plant that seed and grow it into whatever wonderful project you've thought up. You know, maybe it won't turn out the way you hope, or maybe it'll turn out better than you ever imagined. Maybe it leads to a new idea, or simply shows you that this particular path wasn't for you. Whatever the end result, you invested in your creativity, and that won't go unrewarded. Showing up for your creativity truly is the hardest part, and the reality is, only you can do that. No one else is gonna do it for you. We have to be like Jenny. We have to recognize that the internet isn't the problem, it's the way we're using it. We have to let go of the habits and the creators that aren't serving us. We have to commit to building a healthy relationship with the internet that informs and inspires us. And ultimately, we have to go out into our creative garden, plant some seeds, and watch how they grow. We have to show up. The end result of each project isn't the point. The point is investing in our creativity as a whole, building our creative discipline, expanding our imaginations, learning from the experience, and most importantly, loving the process of it all. If you've been here for all 4 episodes, I just want to say thank you for joining Jenny and me on this journey. I hope and pray that it's been as impactful for you as it was for me. Let me know down in the comments what creative project you're going to be making. And if you like how this illustration turned out and want to pick up a print of it as a reminder to invest in your creativity, you can check out the link in the description for the pre-order. Huge thank you to the Cozy and Curious Creatives over on Patreon for helping to support my own creative practice. I am endlessly grateful to each and every one of you. If you're interested in a cozy little week of art video, then head on over to watch this one next. Thanks again for watching, I'll see you soon, and go make something.